we have met so many characters, and we have different characters. We can divide them into two groups. The first group of the characters that we can describe them as superficial characters or shallow characters. Those characters just attracted by the appearance. Those characters just judge only by the appearance. Anything beautiful is useful. Anything expensive is helpful and useful, and anything cheap is not useful. Also, we have another character that are completely contrary to the first group. Those like Swallow and the Happy Prince, those are we can describe them as a deep characters. Those characters has depth. Why? Because they not judge on others by the appearance only. They judge on others by their value, by their importance, not only by their appearance, how much they cost or how much they have. No, the Swallow is appreciate the Happy Prince and become very close to him because he found him is a loyal person. The person who went to help others. That's why there's some sort of close relation, loyal friendship between the two. While what kind of relationship between the Swallow and his beloved? No, it is superficial character read, because she is disloyal, selfish. That's why the Happy Prince and the Swallow are similar in this way. They both have nice heart. They both believe in equality between the people. That's why they love the poor people. While the other characters like the math teacher, for example, even the poor people, the seamstress, when she talked with her child, she thought that the Happy Prince is very happy. Why? Because he has gold. And this is the view of the most people. Even the poor people thought that the appearance is very important. And the Oscar Wilde went to criticize this point, the theme of appearance and reality. Now they help the seamstress, and with the seamstress, with this story, we have two themes: the themes of what social class differences, and what the theme of working class. And we talk about this point. Working class people are suffering from the owner of the factories, or from the rich people, because they receive nothing in return instead of their effort. They work hard 4 hours in the day, but they return very little money instead of their effort. So they are still poor. It is unfair to get little money instead of hard effort. What we have here, we have the Swallow still in the England under the request of the Happy Prince. Request means what? Means the Happy Prince asked him to stay with him in order to help other people. Yes, what we have here, when day broke, he flowed down to the river and had a bath. Look to this conversation. What a remarkable phenomenon. Yes, said the professor of ornithology as he was passing over the bridge. Professor saw the Swallow still in England in winter, and this is a strange thing. This is not a normal thing, because a Swallow, normal place for a Swallow in winter is in Egypt, not in England. And this is not an ordinary case. That's why this prof wrote a letter and published it in the newspaper. And it is a very difficult letter. It is an article, let me say. Okay, it is very difficult to understand because it's full with scientific words, scientific terms, scientific definitions. So not every people could understand it. What do we have here in this conversation between whom? Between the professor and the Swallow. Here the Oscar Wilde, or the writer, went to criticize this point. He went to criticize the upper class, the educated people, the professor of the professors of the universities. Why? Because they write and they talk in a very difficult way, in a very sophisticated way, highly scientific way, that the ordinary people could not understand them. Yes, you are educated, but it's supposed to be simple in order to be understood by others. يعني, yes, you are educated and you want to explain something. Explain it correctly, but in a simple way, not in an exaggerated way or in a complex way, just to show that you are educated. And this is not the aim behind your study or behind your education. To be difficult? No, to be simple and to be understood, to help others. This is the message behind your education. And here the writer went to criticize those people, this group of people, that not to be simple, not to be complex. Then the swallow went to travel. They helped the seamstress, and he went to travel to join his friend in Egypt. But here the swallow, the prince, asked him to stay with him another night and to help this person. Another person that is going to be helped by swallow and the prince is whom? He is a young writer. Swallow, swallow to swallow. Far away across the city, I see a young man in a garret. He is leaning over a desk covered with papers, and in a timber by his side there is a bunch of withered violets. His hair is brown and superb. So this is the description of this man. Now the swallow see a young man. He is a writer. He is young, but he is poor. He is writing a play. He went to complete the play, but he couldn't. Why? Because he is very poor. It is very cold. He could not have a fire, neither food. So the circumstances around him is very difficult. That's why he went to help this man. Look here in this conversation. He gave us a description of this man. This description, يعني his outside, what he looks. He is young, his hair is brown, his lips are red. What we call this? This is the characterization. Students, this is the characterization. يعني the writer use either one of the character to tell us about others, or use the narrator to tell us about the description of others. Now we get the physical appearance, the outside appearance of the young man, of the young writer, by the prince himself. He described him for us. So this is the description, the characterization, students. Okay, what is the story of this young man? This young man could not complete. He is poor, could not complete his play. And what we have also in this story, we have that the publisher is going to interfere with his job, يعني with the job of the writer. He is going to make the writer change certain things in the play, change certain things in the story of the play. And here the writer Oscar Wilde went to criticize this point. He believed, احنا عرفنا بالمحاضرة السابقة, he is the father of what is called art for art's sake. يعني literary work supposed to be for the sake of literature only, to entertain people, to enjoy people, not to interfere by others. Only the writer who has right to write his story and determine the elements of the story, the goal of his story, not the publisher. The publisher is just, who is the publisher? He is mediator between the reader and the writer. It is not his right to interfere with what the writer went to write. So he went, Oscar Wilde went to what? To criticize this point. Art is for the art's sake. If the publisher interferes with this work, with the writing of the story is going to lose its artistic quality, artistic value. It is become not for the art's sake, but for publisher's sake. Okay, do you get the idea, students? Yes. And he helped him. He give him the ruby, another ruby, for this person. And when the When the writer get it, what he said? He said, I'm beginning to be appreciated. Look here, the prince tell the swallow to take the ruby, to take one my eyes are all that I have left. They are made of rare sapphires, which were brought of India. Here the prince tell the swallow to take the ruby, one of his eyes, and give it to this writer, and tell him the story of those rubies, of those jewelry, from where they made. Why the writer give us this explanation or these descriptions? It is important to students. It is important. Why? Because to shed lights on what? To shed lights on the idea of how the people, of the rich people are living. It is, here I write it, the exaggerated way of life of rich people. Yes, despite we have the majority of the people are poor, we have this group of people who called the rich people live in a very prosperous life, in a very exaggerated way of that. يعني they take their dress from where? From Egypt. طبعا I talk in the 18th century. Look here, يعني 18th century India and Egypt are very rich countries, not like today. No, so the rich people in England brought their jewelries from India, brought their precious clothes from Egypt, and they live in a high, very prosperous way of life. What about the poor people? The poor people have nothing to eat. Even the sick people couldn't bring the medicine, because so here the writer went to criticize this way of life, went to shed lights on the social class differences. We have a big contrast between the classes of the society, between the upper and the lower class. He went to what? He went to focus on this idea that people live in a top of the society and people live in what? Live in a base of the society, in the lower class of the society. So this is the importance of those lines, students. What about when the swallow agree and take the ruby from the prince and give it silently to this writer? What does writer said? Look to this sentence. I'm beginning to be appreciated. Actually, it is a very irony. It is an irony. It is fun. يعني the writer thought that one of the upper class people help him or appreciate him. Actually, it is not. It is the swallow and the prince who appreciate and help him. It is irony because I'm beginning to be appreciated, as if this person never appreciated in his life. This is not only his problem, it is the problem of all working class. They work hardly and receive nothing, never appreciated. He is similar to whom? He is similar to the seamstress who is busy to satisfy the queen to complete her dress, and the queen describes her as a lazy. He is similar to all the whole working class. This is the problem of the whole working class. That's why we said in the beginnings of this course that novels or narrative discuss the problem of the working class people, and this is one of their problems. They are never appreciated. They are still poor, despite they are worker, but they still poor. So this is the importance of this quotation. What do we have? This irony completed. Okay. Now the swallow helped this man, I mean the young writer, and come to the prince and to say goodbye for him. He want to travel, but the happy prince requests him to stay only one night. What the prince? What the swallow? The swallow tell him stories about the Egypt, about the sun, about the worm on the green palm, on the trees. All these things are to be found only in the West, not in England. England is a frozen country now, and the swallow tell him something about the West, about the worm. Oh, this is what we call is nostalgia. Nostalgia, it is yearning to his friends and his family. It is only this. These things are only to be found in people who has a nice heart. They always remember they are people, never forget them, and he went to be with them. And this is to reflect the personality of the swallow. That's why I say that the swallow and the prince are different from others, because they have such kind of personalities. What also he tell him also stories about the east, about the western stories, and always western stories is a source of inspiration, source of enjoyment for others. Yeah, especially in Europe, they listen to those stories because they entertain with those stories. يعني one nice and 100 nice and nice ألف ليلة وليلة. This kind of stories they welcome it, they love it, because it is a source of inspiration, entertainment. So it is similar to those stories. Here, what do I have? We have another person they are going to help. It is a lady. In the sequel below, there stand little match girl. She had let her matches fall in the gutter, and they are all spoiled. Her father will beat her, as if she doesn't bring home some money. Here, they are going to help little girl. She is a match girl. And actually, when I reach to this passage, to this paragraph, I feel sorry inside my heart, because it is very hard theme. Here, the writer went to criticize the child labor. The child labor, يعني check it, the meaning of this theme. Child labor means what? It is a very famous phenomenon in the 18th century England. They make children as workers. They kill the childhood of their life. They kill the innocence of their life. They treat them as if they are adults, though they are little children only. Also, the problem of this girl is that she is poor, she is worker, despite she is little girl, and what? She is mistreated by her father. Her family also abused her, mistreat her. Her father beat her, as if, because why? Because she does not bring money for him, so he beat her. Here, Oscar Wilde went to criticize this boy, the child labor, and went to educate people, learn people how to behave with their children. يعني the child, the normal place for the child is in the home, in the school, to play, to study, not to walk. Now this lady, this girl, is what? Is a worker. يعني practically speaking, she is worker. She is like an adult. So they decide to help her. He asked him to bulk his other eyes to give her. Now the happy prince completely become blind. What? طبعا the swallow reject to do this, because you would be quite blind then. Swallow, do as I command you. The swallow reject this, but the happy prince insists to take this ruby, another eyes, to this lady. And what he said, do as I command you. يعني at the beginning he said, I request you, I ask you, no, I command you. Command, I order. Okay, so here now the happy prince become what? Become quietly blind now. But this isn't you would be quite blind. No, yes, he has a blind in his eyes, but he could see the people and they are suffering in his heart. Yes, he lost his what? His sapphire's eyes, his ruby's eyes, but what? He has a gold in his heart. Despite the material of this heart, يعني the people when they made a statue of the prince, they make everything from gold except his heart. It is from lead. It is leather heart. But it is very expensive now for us, because he could see others through this heart, and he feels others. He could help others because of this heart. That's why we say irony. Irony, why? Because it is cheap material, but it is very useful. Okay, what do we have also? So now the happy prince tell him to go away. Now you complete your mission, you help people, you can't go away. Now I am blind. What the swallow said, I will stay with you always. This is the loyalty. Yeah, this character is a very loyal character. He is not selfish characters like the mayor, like town councillors. No, he is very loyal person that he went to help others. He went to forget himself for the benefit of others because he feels sympathy towards the prince. The prince now is completely blind, and he went to help him, to guide him in order to be the guide. He is going to be a close friend, the loyal friend for him. He is going to be his messenger. Now what's happened? All the next day, the prince, he sat on the prince's shoulder and is going to tell him stories about what he had seen in a strange land. طبعا strange lands هي lands نقصد بها Egypt, Western lands. Now he is going to tell him stories about what? About the West, about for example about Egypt and the pyramids. He went to entertain the swallow, to enjoy. يعني always the Western stories, Western literature is a source of inspiration for the European people. But what he went, that the Happy Prince said no, don't tell me about don't tell me about stories about the Egypt. Tell me stories about my city, England, London itself. There is no mystery so great as a misery. You remember the word mystery? Mystery, it is referred to the play. You remember it last year we studied it. No, don't tell me any stories, any entertaining stories. Tell me the stories about the suffering of my people, the suffering of the poor people in my city. He went only these stories because he is a human being. He has the heart that he feels with the suffering of others. And this is very significant lines. This reflects the personality of the Happy Prince himself, the focus on the theme of the what? On the appearance and reality, social class differences, all these things to be human. Instead, despite he is a statue, he is a human. Yes, what he tell him? Tell him stories about how rich people, the swallow طبعا, the swallow tell the Happy Prince stories that happens within the city, within London itself now. So rich people making merry in their beautiful houses, make festivals or feasts, let me see, for the people. And in a Merry Christmas, يعني Christmas, you know that you're supposed to help each others because of it is the birth of Christ, and the Christ is a symbol. Jesus Christ is a symbol of what? Of mercy, symbol of brotherhood, peace, equality. What happens here? They making merry in their houses while beggars were sitting at the gates. And beggars, those people have nothing to eat. Those people who ask help directly from others. Check the meaning of these words in dictionary, students. They still hungry. They still poor. So why? What is the benefit of this merry Christmas you made if the poor people still poor? Here here even the children starving, faces of the children, starving children looking out restlessly at the black streets. Here this is the description of this scene in this city, that we have rich people, religious people make Merry Christmas in the name of Jesus Christ, but what do we have? We have still the people starvation, still the people poor, nothing to eat. So what is the benefit of those Merry Christmas? Here Oscar Wilde went to criticize the religious system, the political system, as well as the charity organizations. Political systems, because government do nothing for poor people. The religious system, يعني the church itself make nothing to the poor people. Even those charity organization, those charity يعني عندنا hypocrisy. تعرفون شو hypocrisy؟ hypocrisy those يعني النفاق نسميه بالعربي. اوكي hypocrisy of the charity organization هي اوكي منظمات خيريه ومن تجي تساعد الناس، يعني هو يسوي مثلا مساعدات للناس بس هو ما يعطيها للناس الفقراء، راح يعطيها للناس الاقاربه والناس الاغنياء والناس المتوسطه الحال ويترك الفقير ما يعطيه اي شيء. So here we have a hypocrisy of what? Of the charity organization. Here we have a criticism of the political system, of the religious system also. So these are very, very important points that Oscar Wilde went to draw our attention to it. So now they decide, both Swallow and the Prince decide to help the poor people. He asked him to take all the golden leaves. He take leaves after leaves, all those leaves that the golden body, and give it to the poor people. And the swallow did what the prince told him. Now the poor swallow, now what do we have? Now the statue, the happy prince, become very ugly because he is without gold, and the swallow grow older, colder, but he would not leave the prince. He loved him too well. He decided to stop him till the last moment in his life. This is the loyalty. This is the theme of real human relation. Human relation supposed not to be based on material reasons. Supposed to be based on what? On loyalty only. So loyal friendship that is between Swallow and the Happy Prince, and the Happy Prince still, the Swallow still with the Happy Prince till he fall dead, because it is very frozen winter and this is unsuitable place for such a bird. That's why he fall dead. He died for the sake of his friend, the prince. Now the Happy Prince the Happy Prince fall dead. What the last conversation between the Happy Prince and the Swallow in the moment when he went to die? Yes, it is not to Egypt. He said what? The prince said to him, go to Egypt to die there with your family. He said what? It is not to Egypt that I'm going, said the swallow. I'm going to the house of death. Death is the brother of sleep, is he not? Here what do we have? Here he said that I couldn't go to my friends in Egypt. Now I still in the house of death. طبعا house of death here this represent to London. This is a metaphor. يعني he said I'm not going to the no, he is going to London because it is very hard. It is because of the ugliness of the life in London. He described her as a house of the death because it is only, he received nothing more than death only. Also what he said, death is the brother of sleep. Here in the 18th century we have what is called the writers, the educated people philosophize the death. They look to the death as a form of sleep, as a form of rest, as a journey. يعني they believe in the concept of life after death. Yes, this life is short and we are going to go to another life. Either we are punished or rewarded. We are rewarded if we are good people in this life, we are going to be rewarded. If we are bad people in this life, we are going to be punished by God. So Oscar Wilde believed in this concept. It is even in our religion, in Islam, we believe in this concept, right? So people believe in this concept also. Here the writer described London as a house of death and described the death as a form of sleep, a form of rest. We are going to be rewarded. Yes, we spend our life in suffering, in misery in this life, but we are going to be rewarded with God because we are good people. If we are good people, we are going to be rewarded. Here the writer present for us metaphysical concept of death. Students, you are going to meet this concept with poetry in this in the second course. And in this year, you are going to study poetry, 17th century and 18th century poetry. They have such a concept, metaphysical concept of death. Yes, so he fell. Now the swallow dead between these points. One critic described London as what? As hell like London. أنا كتبت لك إياها بالملف بالفولدر. Yes, hell like London, because the misery of the people in London is greater than the hell. He does not say London like hell. No, he said hell like London, as if hell is part of London, to depict the harshness of the life in London in the 18th century, of course. Yes, now when the swallow fell dead, what happened to the prince? His heart snapped right into, now his heart is divided into two parts because he feels sorry towards him. What do we have also? Now we have dead bird with a cheap, ugly prince, happy prince, or statue of the happy prince. What do we have? Look to those characters, your town councillors. Here we have a government's people from the governments. Look to the statue, it is very ugly, and we have what? We have a very a dead swallow, dead bird. What they said, look to this, as if as they passed the column, he looked up at the statue. Dear me, how shabby the happy prince looks, he said. They described the happy prince as shabby. What is the shabby? You can check in the meaning of this word. They described him as being as a beggar also, little than beggar. So why they described him? You remember the town councillor in the beginning of this story, how they prize the happy prince, how they dream to be to have their own statue in place of him, how they invade him because he has gold. Now they describe him in a very harsh way because he has a cheap appearance. So again, return to the theme of appearance and reality. They describe him as beggar and shabby because he has no gold. He has cheap appearance. So again, they are similar to the people in the beginning of the paradox. Paradox means it is contrast. Yes, contrast to others, to the mayor in the beginning. What do we have here? Look at this. As he is no longer beautiful, he is no longer useful. This is their view. طبعا this view, art professor. طبعا art professor supposed to be very civilized person, very educated person. He said, if he is not beautiful, he is not useful. This is the view of the most of the people, whether educated or not, whether rich or not, even the poor people. They have this judgment on things, and this is completely wrong. The writer went to draw the attention to this point, the theme of appearance and the reality. يعني it is not a matter of social statue, يعني whether you are rich or poor, whether you are educated or not. No, it is a matter of knowledge within yourself. It is a matter of sense of humanity within yourself. Yes, here what happens, that they decide to melt the statue in a furnace, and the mayor ask his people to make another statue, and everyone of the governments went to make a statue of himself, because of myself, said each of the town councillor, because everyone felt within himself that he deserved this. He's supposed to make a statue for himself. But why? What is the benefit of you? What you make for the people to make a statue for yourself? Here, أكيد this is a selfishness, we call it. The last scene of of the story is that it is between God and angel. Yes, when they melt the statue, that only his heart is never melted. That's why they throw it in a dust heap, in a rubbish or in a dust heap, in where the dead swallow was also lying. So people throw the heart of the happy prince and the dead swallow in the dust heap. They throw the most two precious things in this city in the heap. This is the people. Never appreciate. This is the judgment of the people. They judge only by the appearance. Since it is a dead swallow, since it is a cheap heart, leather heart, so they throw it where? In the heap, in the dust heap. They never appreciate the precious things. They only judge by the appearance, okay, not on the reality. Look at this final conversation here, the final conversation between God and the angel, when he asked the angel to bring the most, yes, precious things in this city. What he brought, and the angel brought him the leather heart and the dead bird. Look to the judgment of the God. It is opposite to our judgment. God appreciates those two things because they do rise, they help the poor people. That's why God reward them. You have rightly chosen, said the God. Now the God talk with the angel. You have rightly chosen, for in my garden of paradise this little bird shall sing forevermore, and in my city of gold the happy prince shall praise me. So they will live forever in my in the garden of paradise, and never dead, never their life is going to be completely happy. They have an everlasting. Here again, they want to return for the God, return to Christianity and the concept of the religion. Here God reward them. Yani God reward the good people in their life because He promised us in the Garden of Eden or Garden Paradise Garden. Yes, this is what do we have in the text, students. Let us. Yes, we talk about the educated people, how he social class differences, also working class problem, loyalty, humans relation with friendship, child level. As I tell you, it is the one of the hardest theme because this phenomena is very famous or appeared in the 18th century England. We have children as our kind. Unfortunately, in our country today, we have such a things. Also, we have what? Friendship, loyalty, human relations. We have hypocrisy of the upper class, hypocrisy of the religious system, hypocrisy of the charity organization, because they make what? Merry feasts, yes, while beggars and children still hungry. So what is the benefit of this merry feast? Yes, what do we have? How the writer philosophized the death, because this is very famous in the 18th century. Return to the political system. Why the heart of the happy prince is not melting? Here we describe why it is not melting. Focus on these points. Yes, what do we have at the end? What do we have in this story? We have third person narrator with objective point of view. Yes, through all the story we have third person narrator who speak with us. Objective point of view, yes, because the narrator only tell us the stories, convey the stories of others, but never give us his own view. Yani only we listen the narrator give us the description of the events, description of the character, but never tell us his own view. We have major characters or minor characters. Yes, عندنا Swallow and the Happy Prince, major characters. All other characters, those are minor characters. Many themes, we have so many themes. Loyalty, friendship, selfishness, we have human relations, appearance and reality, criticism of the political system, of the art, of the religion, hypocrisy of the society, social class differences, working class problem. We have so many themes. The genre is fable.